So it was the thing we're going to go on to, because emotional whiplash in this show. We can go from the chaos and the at times crazy, to the quite serious, because it was at full time, wasn't it? When United had won 2-0, and Geyse put a post on her Instagram. And since then, it's all come out about the club and their apparent, alleged, underhand dealings, which really leaves quite a bad taste in the mouth. So, Paul, I'm going to hand over to you, because if this is true, it's quite disgusting, really, isn't it?
I think that there is no doubt that it's true. Like, I think that you've had a few people try and say that it's not the case, but basically the short version of the situation is Jace put a pretty emotional post on Instagram about, and it was one of those posts, being flippant about it, and I'm not intentionally being flippant about it, but I'm mentioning it. On initial sight, it read like one of those drama Instagram, Facebook posts that people post to try and convince people that they're going through something. Because it was very vague. It was very enigmatic. And it was all about, sometimes you find yourself in a place where you don't want to be and you have to keep going through it. Sometimes you're not in the right place.
Yeah, I
And
was trying to get it up, but I think she's deleted it.
which again adds another layer to the interest.
Unless it was on a story, I didn't see it firsthand.
It wasn't.
Do you know who would have reposted it?
I mean, there were a whole bunch of people who shared.
That's what
pictures.
I'm trying to think who would have reshared it. Which accounts would have reshared it? I'm trying to get it.
I think Emma. I think Catherine and Emma certainly shared possibly a link to it.
Okay.
Again, if it's one of those things, this bit. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting about Couture there saying Jace letter more authentic than Chloe Kelly. Chloe Kelly's was very calculated, almost agent written. Jace felt a lot more like just a raw. I posted at the time. This is like a cry for help. Like,
oh, I found it.
Oh, I was going to say I've just sent it. Yeah, but
great mind. Staying in a place where we don't feel happy is an agonizing and lonely feeling. Every day seems heavier, and the simple fact of being there becomes a burden. The environment, which should be welcoming, becomes a field of discomfort where inner peace is difficult to find. When we are not in tune with what surrounds us, the world around us loses its colour and energy. Sometimes the desire for change arises as an urgent need, but the fear of the unknown or insecurity about the future can paralyse us. However, it is essential to remember that we deserve to be in places and situations that bring us happiness and fulfillment. That's the only way we can grow.
Yeah. Enigmatic is the word for that one.
Very much so.
And then, shortly afterwards, and again, it was Catherine Batt who posted it initially, which makes me wonder if this was slightly coordinated in terms of Jace kind of knowing that this had come out, or this was going to come out. And it was, the short version of it was, Jace has had a rough time, to say the least, recently. Yeah. Over Christmas and early January, a family member passed away, her brother, who she was very, very close to indeed. And she was obviously given time off by Manchester United to fly back to Brazil and to attend his funeral, which any decent football club would do.
Yeah.
It turns out, allegedly, and we use allegedly to avoid getting sued by Man United's lawyers and no other reason, that Manchester United were attempting to loan her to an NWSL team without her knowledge. Which is I want to say it's obscene.
Yeah.
Like, this is a club that is supposedly a professional football club, a club that has had issues and has had its treatment of players and its pastoral care for players publicly questioned in the past, and has had to face questions about it, and has responded with very bland, very kind of cookie cutter responses about we're always there for players. They are trying to jettison a player at what is, without doubt, probably the lowest moment of her life. She's just lost her brother. If I have two, but I'm sure everyone can relate. I have two brothers. If I'd lost one of my brothers, I wouldn't be able to think.
No.
Like, genuinely, for several days. And I certainly wouldn't be thinking about work. I certainly wouldn't be thinking about doing work. If my workplace tried to jettison me at that point, if you're made redundant at that point, or you're forced to move away from what little support system you have, without being fucking told. Sorry, swearing is coming, but it's just.
And it's the sneakiness, the underhandedness, the behind the back. Like, if there was already a deal in place and she'd already said, look, I want to go, and if the club were exploring options just for the future, seeing what interest was out, that's still not great timing, but it's making steps for the future. But if, again, allegedly, if this has happened as it has, where they've gone, oh wait, she's not playing at the minute, we'll try and get this sorted, and the fact that their response was, we continue to support Geyse in her well-being and look for options which suit all parties.
Do your bollocks. Sorry, you do not cut someone loose when they're grieving. You do not tell them they're going to uproot their life. That's treating a player like cattle. That's a betrayal of everything that a football club should do, and it would be abhorrent at any time. But right now, as well, with the focus on while an inquest is happening into a player who committed suicide, again allegedly, and that's to avoid being sued by Sheffield United's lawyers, because of her treatment at a football club by a manager, driving her to that point.
Yeah.
Who the fuck do Man United think they are? Like, and to stand and barefaced lie, like we joke about Mark Skinner, and we joke about, we're critical about him, and we joke about his but the barefaced coldness, the barefaced fucking cheek to stand there in front of the media, presumably knowing, because there's no way he wouldn't have known, I'm sorry, that one of his players is being treated like that, is snaky. It's if you're a player outside Manchester United and you hear about that, how are you going to go to Manchester United? Like, all the bollocks that we see about the players being together and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You see that and go, that could be me. Liz Turland sees that and goes, that could be me. Ella Toon sees that and goes, that could be me, easily.
Yeah. And I saw someone as well, like, again, we've all seen it when players have left and then have made comments, again, not calling out a particular person specifically, because then of course that would get them into trouble, which people some people are then saying, well, it means it's not true then, because they're not naming that person. It's just people reading into it. It's like, no, it's inference. Like, we're using it the right way. But someone made a list of all the players who have gone since this particular person's been in charge, and has then spoke out about how they were treated, how they felt. And it's just getting longer and longer. And you just think, do the club really not care that much? I mean, we know they don't, we've seen it, but this is like huge, horrendous news reflecting back on them. And they're not doing anything.
This is a legit player welfare scandal at this point.
Yeah.
This
100%.
is the kind of thing. If this was happening in the men's game, journalists would be kicking down doors. And I have
Getting
I
answers.
have no doubt that there are journalists in the women's game who do this, and there may well be stuff going on. And obviously, with legal issues taking on a team like Man United with Jim Radcliffe, who is not exactly shy of using lawyers,
No.
and Glazers, they all have to have their ducks in a row. But so again, we are not saying that this is happening and Manchester United are mistreating players. But there are 10 players now who have come out and, in cryptic fashion, all said similar things.
Yeah.
There are players who have said they felt alone and they cried at training sessions. There are players. Man United have form for this with Vilda Bovisa, where she wanted to play, and Mark Skinner was coming out with all of his, oh, well, it's best for both parties and stuff.
Mm.
They're going to kill someone. Manchester, if this keeps going, we've seen what it happens. This only ends one way.
Yeah. Someone needs to step in, and whatever their safeguarding policy is, it needs to be completely scrapped and make a new one and appoint a new safeguarding officer and welfare officer, because that can't be allowed to happen. And in any workplace, you have certain rights and respect, and it just that this should not be happening in 2025.
For a manager to allow this to happen to one of his players, he should lose his job. It's negligence.
Yeah.
It's utter negligence. If we're talking about Jonathan Morgan being placed in a position where he may be considered criminally negligent for his treatment of Maddie Cusack, depending again on what the inquiry says, and Sheffield United may be considered criminally negligent for affecting the mental health of their players. This is the same thing. The only difference is, thankfully, at the moment, it hasn't reached the dark place that it did with Maddie Cusack, because Geyse has come out and said, hey, I'm struggling. Clearly said, this is a cry for help. She's come out and said, I'm struggling.
Yeah.
But what's happening? What's stopping another player? What's happening in 3 months' time? What's going on behind closed doors at Carrington?
Yeah, because Jace's agents come out as well, haven't they, to discuss all these details further, to say, this is abhorrent, this is happening at the club, and they were in these decisions, and luckily Jace's agent is looking out for her and saying, we need to get her out of there.
The worst thing is there are people saying, oh, you can't believe Jace's agent, he loves to speak to media. Well, what else is he going to do?
Yeah, he needs to protect her. He needs to speak up for her.
Where else can he go? Like, oh, he loves to speak to the media. Fucking right he does, when his client, who his interests are protected, is being placed in a position where she's being forced to move several thousand miles and plans are being made about her life without her fucking knowledge.
Yeah.
I think it says something. I haven't got any one-liners. I haven't got any jokes about this, because there aren't any. Fucking sort yourselves out, Man United.
Yeah. I just don't know how they're functioning as a club, and this is going out to all the players who are there. We genuinely hope they're okay, and they've got each other, as because we've seen they're very close as a team, and you wonder, is it, have they not got any other support? Is it literally
how are fans? It says something that fans want. When we were getting ready for this broadcast, we had a message from one of the Man United fans on Twitter saying, "I hope someone's going to take Skinner apart."
Mm.
They're second in the league, and
Yeah.
and fans are saying about their own manager, take him apart, give him hell.
And
Because
they're
of stuff
second in the
like this.
league. We're not talking about the football.
Yeah.
We're talking about everything else. And that shouldn't be the case on a football podcast.
This is a sanction. If I were in WPLL's position, if they're serious, this is where they
Yeah, it's
sanction the club.
growth. Yeah.
If
Mhm.
this is proven, or if there is reasonable enough proof of it, they sanction the club. 10-point deduction
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
mistreating players.
Mm.
And then if the club turn around and go, "Well, it wasn't us," like, well, you fucking allowed it to happen.
Yeah.
Now what?
There's no comeback from it. And Catherine Batt has since put, it's understood United are in advanced talks with Gotham in the NWSL. So they're hoping to conclude a loan deal in the coming days.
Well, I mean, there's claims that Geyse asked for the loan deal to be nearer her family in South America,
Which is fair. Yeah.
which again is fair. But surely her agent would have said that. What has her agent got to gain from coming out and saying
Hiding that? Yeah.
One of the biggest football clubs in the world is committing a possible illegal act, something that will absolutely wreck Man United's reputation. And the thing that worries me about it again is they're not getting rich shreds for it.
No.
We're doing it, and again, you have to bear in mind that journalists like Catherine have to report in a kind of emotionless kind of way and just report it and say it, and they do a fantastic job. Podcasts don't. Where are the other influential podcasts coming out and going,
Talking about it.
"Hey, Man United, sort yourselves the hell out."
Yeah.
And I had to edit myself again then because I realised I've sworn a few times. But
no, but it's true. And that's why we'll keep doing it, and we'll keep bringing this, to people's attention, so we can talk about it. We can have the facts. So far as we know, this is the issue, and it does need addressing.
Assuming this is the case, and again, allegedly, they are a shameful football club. They do not deserve to be a WSL team.
No.
And in a just world, they would be sanctioned the hell out of the league for treating their players like this. Dissolved. Players redistributed in. If you want to take an American approach, take a draft. Right, okay, we are forcibly removing Man United's license, and the players are now free agents now and able to be signed. Because imagine the scramble for players like Liz Turland, for players like Melvin Millard, for players like these players will easily find jobs.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Because you look at the players they've got, and that's why they're picking up points, that's why they're performing. But again, even watching them now, it's just does the job, gets the points. But it just lacks that spark, doesn't it?
And Man United fans, why are you not protesting outside LSV at this point? This is the kind of thing that should see protests at games. This is the kind of thing that treat our players properly.
Yeah.
Remember Maddie Cusack. Players over profit, whatever. Fucking make your voices heard. Get out there. Tell them what you think.
Yeah. And to everyone watching and listening, hopefully this has resonated with you. And if you want to go find out more information, please do. Don't take our word for it. Of course, we've done our research. We want to bring it all to you. But, it's these things that, unless people do keep talking about it, as we do with everything, then, it might just be forgotten and slip under the rug. And we can't let that happen.